name's Chris, and this is the place to be if you'd like to draw cartoons or follow along with me. This is part 2 of a series. Part 1 will be linked to at the end of this video, and that's on expression. What we're going to do today is we're going to do some more eyes, because there's lots of different ways, obviously, of drawing everything, including eyes. So we're going to try some different eye shapes. Now, the one I like the best at the moment has boiled down to my style is the style I use for blatant book plug for my own book, but my children's book has characters in it that have eyes very much like this, which is just very simple, and you can get an awful lot of expression into those. So if I choose, I'm going to do several different types of eyes, and I'm going to do several different types of expression, and we're going to explore what those eyes, those expressions look like with differently drawn eyes. Just follow along with me, it will make sense. We're going to do a sad face. Do sad eyes. There we go. So just do those eyebrows. They're not enthusiastic, they're sort of like just very close to the eyes, and there's no energy about them. And then I'm going to do some angry eyebrows. Cross eyebrows there. So eyebrows go in, and a triangle. And then I'm surprised. Now, you could have that eyebrow exactly symmetrical. Like you could have this one mirror this one, or this one, you could have them mirrored. But I kind of like making one a bit lopsided because it just gives a bit more character, a bit more liveliness to the picture. If things are too symmetrical, sometimes that's not the strongest image. And then what else can we have? And a frown. Completely not impressed. So the way I used to draw eyes for a long time was something like this, and that was partly because of the comics that I'd read. I was a particular fan of Asterix. Okay, so I've done these eyes, and I'm actually drawing them, and they're not like particularly happy. They're kind of neutral. If we did that might quite work. That was sort of pleasantly happy, not ecstatically happy, but just like, yeah, you know, life's good, generally happy. Okay, and then now with these eyes, again, just the two, sort of just building on these ones really. These are the sort of the pupils and irises, like the coloured parts of the eye, and then just drawing around it to show the eyeball. So now, because these are sort of slightly sad eyes, you can get a little bit sort of like if the eyebrow goes up this way, it generally means something sad or kind of upset or worried or scared or something like that. Just by tilting those eyebrows way up here, they could be really desperate eyes. Doing it like this just looks like just kind of a bit sad, but not too sad. Okay, now these. These are sort of the angry eyes. Now these are sort of like the patterns for different sort of expressions. So hopefully you can take these and apply them to different shapes. You kind of bring the eyebrows down like that. That's like a cross and annoyed expression there. Okay, and then this. Shocked or surprised? So the eyes, we can change the size of the eyeballs as well. I notice I'm not linking these up here. I'm sort of just giving the idea that they're joined up, but I'm not actually joining them up. I like things a bit loose with my drawing, even though I'm being quite careful with the way these are done, but I don't like joining up all the lines. That's just my personal style. If I were animating, that would be really quite hard to colour in, or it'd be more work to colour in, I'd imagine. So animation always used to join up the lines, but it's a bit, or very often. But I just like this sort of free, loose style. It's just enough to show you that there's an eyeball there, but it's not filling in every detail. Lots of people do cartoon eyes like this, where they're two eyeballs. This is the sort of thing you might see in an old cartoon, or where the characters are stuck in a dark hole somewhere, and all you can see is this kind of eye, and then just blackness all around. You see there. Now he's doing that. So yeah, but notice that you can draw those and link them up. That's fine, but that's just not my way of doing things. I thoroughly recommend you check out other art books of behind the scenes on animated films, or again go to comics. Or find some characters that you like, some of your favourite characters, and sort of just start copying the art style. Start with simple characters and start at a level you're comfortable at. Now, this, if it's a frowny, kind of unimpressed kind of look, you can sort of have a, that's kind of like the eye, oh no, that's sort of like the brow. It's like the brow, furrowed brow, pressing over the top of the eyeball, and then you might have a, oh, that just looks sleepy. Okay, well, let's get rid of that. You can see just subtle changes in lines, or adding new lines can really change a lot in the expression. Next up we're going to try this sort of eye. So that's a little bit different for me. But let's just play around and see what happens now. All part of the journey. So these are more like, ooh. These are more kind of like Aardman eyes. The sort of beads, the white beads, the pupils in a stop motion animation film. And the eyes are just a little bit more fixed in terms of shape. You can't bend the actual eye shape so much. You can still get a lot of expression in the eyebrows. I'm just going to rough those out, and then it's mostly to do with those eyebrows. Okay, and then so what we're doing here is we're keeping the eyes as if they're less drawn cartoony and more if you were making like a computer animated film or using clay, the eyes would have some sort of fixed shape generally, and it'd be more work to squash and stretch them and change the shape. But it does mean that it gives it's a different style where you're more aware of the facial structure. So when you do sort of those angry eyebrows, they can't go all the way down like that. It'd be quite hard to do that. You can't do so much exaggeration. CG, computer animation, you can, but it takes more work. And these look as if they're part of more of a it looks a little bit more realistic in a way. So the shapes can't go too out of control. Okay, and if someone's surprised, then maybe their eyes go a little bit, their pupils go a little bit smaller. Another thing when someone's cross or stressed or angry is you can have sort of like a few more marks under here. And that sort of shows, that sort of shows stress or that sort of thing. So again, you could do that. Someone's a bit sad, they're a bit worn out, haven't slept. Those sort of lines, look like the lines underneath someone's eyes in real life. But because by drawing them in a very otherwise simple, in a very simple cartoon, you're sort of drawing attention to those lines that would be on most people's faces anyway, and you're saying, hey, they're a bit stressed, and then sort of frowny. I think some of the best frowns I've ever seen in cartoons are Gary Larson's Fast Side. It sometimes doesn't even draw the eyes, it's just literally furrowed brow, and then the nose. Something like that. Okay, so that's those. And then we're going to go for something completely different. We're going to go for, let's go for random shaped eyes, shall we? Last round, let's go a bit silly with eye shapes. Oh, here we go. Here's a robot. They're robotic eyes, very angular. Robotic with personality though. And then kind of, I'm not going to say Disney-ish eyes, but something with a bit more eye shaping to them. There we go, so the eyebrows here aren't attached, sort of they're not overlapping the top of the eye, but they are still sort of pointing at that slightly upwards angle. Okay. And angry eyes, let's go for slightly manga anime. Possibly Pokemon type thing. There's more complication usually with the pupils around there, not with the reflections, but that'll do. And then what can we do for these ones? So I was trying to go for like these kind of weird crocodile eyes, but they usually, what I mean is like a sort of eye that does, you know, you can imagine on a crocodile or a shark triangles, and they always look mean. The problem is when you're trying to do them when they're all surprised. How, man, that took me off guard. How do you do a surprised eye for something that usually has quite mean triangular kind of eyes? I'm going to make the pupils smaller to emphasize the surprise. It still looks kind of a mean character, I guess, if it's like a crocodile. If it's a crocodile, it still has kind of mean eyes, but it's a little bit harder to do that surprised expression. And then we're going to do that frown. I'm just thinking of a different way of doing the frown. And I think that's perfect. I'm going to cheat a little bit by doing that eye. That eye, that nose, but just to show that, there we go. Someone is very, very unimpressed. Okay, so there you go. That's an overview of some of the sorts of different eyes you can do. There's loads of different ways of doing them. So the main thing really is just to play with the different shapes, but most of all, well, the very minimum, sort of have these as the pupils, and then where you position your eyebrows is very, very important. So if you can get a few different types, practice looking at yourself in the mirror, not practice looking at yourself in the mirror, practice posing in the mirror, pulling faces, and sort of just seeing what you can come up with and seeing if you can draw those poses, your facial expressions very, very simply using very simple eyebrows, and then start gradually building up different types of eyes and just keep drawing, keep going, keep exploring, keep having fun with it. And sometimes you might end up with something absolutely ridiculous, and that's brilliant. Sometimes it might not work, and that's also brilliant. Whatever you do, enjoy it. If you like this video and you want to find out more, please click like and subscribe, and press that notification bell as well. Also click through to my website with the link in the description, and that gives you more information on my children's book and the kind of things I get up to, and I'll be updating that fairly soon with some new developments. So, okay, take care, see you soon.